We're ready to start. Good morning. We are ready. Are you ready for us to start? Are you ready for one more insightful day at Cypher 2016? Yes? Okay. So are you ready to build some concentration? Yeah, like a little concentration check. Yes? Should we? Okay, so can we offer our right palm to our neighbor? Yeah? Right palm to your neighbors. And place your left index finger on your neighbor's palm. Yeah? So offer your right palm to your neighbor and your left index finger on the palm of your neighbor. If you concentrate on two things at the same time, right? Now what you need to do is concentrate on both your hands. You have pressure here, you have pressure there, okay? On one side, you've offered your palm, so you have a finger on it, okay? On my count of 3, you need to catch that finger, don't let it go. And at the same time, you have to release your finger from your neighbor's palm. Right, you got it? It's very simple. You have to dually concentrate. So on one side, you have your palm, you have a finger on that palm, you need to catch it. Don't let your neighbor's finger go. Try to catch it tight, okay? And at the same time, when your finger is stuck on that other palm, try to release the finger at the same time. Okay, now let's see how many of you can do both these things together. Okay, don't catch that finger until we say 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, ready? Ready? Yes, no? Yes? A little louder, yes? A little more louder, yes? Okay, 3, 2, 1, go! Yeah? How many of you were able to do that? Yeah, I see this guy. How could both your fingers get stuck like that? How many of you got that? How many of you were able to? Oh, lovely. Yeah, so that's how you can dually concentrate. I think you are all geniuses. Give yourselves a round of applause. So good morning everyone. We hope yesterday was a fabulous day. We had great insightful sessions, panel discussions, and we are here for another day of insights and sessions. It's going to be another interesting day. And thank you for making it once again, despite all the challenges outside in the city. We hope you had a good time at the gala dinner yesterday. Yes? Do you want one more today? How many of you want one more gala dinner today? Ah, okay. So with this, once again, I would like to thank all our sponsors who've been a great support in making this possible. Our knowledge partner, Deloitte, our platinum sponsors, AIG and Jigsaw Academy, our gold sponsor, Great Learning, silver sponsors, Brilio, Advancer, Analytics Labs and Cognizant, our exhibit sponsors, Contact Singapore, InSophie, Praxis Business School and the United Health Group. Again, we'd like to remind you that tomorrow we are going to have the awards as a concluding ceremony in association with the Great Lakes Institute of Management. Also, a reminder on all the contests. As you know, yesterday, those of you who stayed back till the end, you saw the kind of prizes, the big prizes that we gave away, and we want you to win this. And that is why I'm going to remind you about the challenges. The Cypher selfie contest was a very exciting contest that we had yesterday. We had people taking selfies all around the hall, but we also have a dedicated photo booth outside. We want you to, also have fun, go outside, take some selfies and upload it for us on Facebook or Twitter with the hashtag #Cypher2016. And one person is going to take home a big prize. The selfie contest, we're giving away a Fitbit. So please participate in that. We have another contest which is the Cypher App Star. So I'm sure everybody by now has downloaded our app. Yes? Somebody who hasn't? Okay, so we request you to please do that. It is Cypher 2016. Whatever phone you're using, please go into the App Store, download the app. This is a big prize because we are trying to, create a winner out of somebody who engages a lot. So this is all about social engagement, and the more you engage, the more you win. So you can go there, post something, post a picture, like a picture, share a picture, and that's going to increase your chance to win. So whenever you get time during the day, please do that because it's going to increase your chances to win. So we had some very nice posts yesterday, and we request you to engage more today for us. It also helps us knowing what you're liking. So of course we have other contests which I will take you through in some time, but we have with us for our first session for paradigm shift in insurance, Anshu Sharma. She's Senior Director at AIG Science, site leader for the science team in Bangalore. In her role, she is responsible to seed and grow the science function in India for AIG. She has over 19 years of experience, almost all of it in the financial tech industry. Prior to her role at AIG, she was at Goldman Sachs in Bangalore and was the regional lead for the market data function, apart from leading large infrastructure programs. Please join me welcome this morning, Anshu Sharma.
Good morning, everyone. And I'm delighted to be here, absolutely delighted to be part of Cypher. I must congratulate the entire team at Cypher for putting up a fabulous, fabulous show this year. And thanks to each one of you for joining me this morning. I'm going to talk about exciting times that are taking place in the world of insurance. Likewise, like we heard from a couple of other speakers yesterday in their respective industry, insurance is not it's not touched insurance. It's a very key area in the insurance world as well, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So let's start. Let's start with a very, very fundamental thing. Why insurance? I don't want to show off hands, but I'm sure every single one in this room has had their brush with insurance, at a retail level, or what we call the retail level, or at a personal level, whether it's your life insurance, car insurance, home insurance, travel insurance, whatever have you. And similarly, the scope increases multi-fold when you talk about commercial insurance, or insuring large companies, large organizations, large properties, large infrastructure, large equipments, and so on, right? So why insurance? It's all about covering risks, isn't it? If I ask you, why do you need insurance? I'm sure each one of you will tell me it's because in the event of something happening to me, I would like someone else to take the risk on my behalf, right? And that's precisely what insurance is. Now let's take a look at what it means for the insurance companies who insure us, right? Or who are insuring, whether it's your property or whether it's large commercial property, whatever have you, what it means for them. Yes, it's risk, but they are transferring the risk. The risk is entirely transferred to the insurance companies. So in very, very plain, simple terms, just a level set for everybody, because I don't come from the insurance industry, and I know in this audience we have some we have some stalwarts from the insurance industry, but just to level set for the audience, insurance is all about risk sharing. So from an insurance company perspective, the insurance company is buying, so for example, AIG, the firm that I represent, is buying all the risk and taking it onto themselves. So it becomes the collective risk is very, very high. Think of it, just let's hypothetically say, all the people sitting in this room, if they were to be insured by a company, now each one of us will pass on our risk at a very nominal cost, right? We'll pay respective premiums, but the company is taking the risk on behalf of each one of us sitting in this room. And then what happens, right? We've all gone through courses in mathematics and probability and so on. So it all boils down to the probability of, what is the probability of an event happening to at least one of us, or to this set, and what will be my liability as an insurance company to pay that out. So it's basically transferring the risk. So for an insurance company, they carry on their books the premiums, yes, as an asset, but there is also a liability that should something happen, what will be my payout like? And that's the constant thing that happens, that's essentially the core of insurance. And traditionally, I think insurance industry was the very, very first industry to embrace the whole idea of analytics, if you will, in terms of the actuarial science, right? So, building statistical models. So how do you predict probability? How do you predict risk, and how do you predict what is going to happen and how soon it's going to happen? It was all done through what is called the actuarial area in insurance. And that's essentially about building statistical models and saying that given all this historical data that I know, and these are the patterns that are emerging, this is the price I think we need to charge the premium, right? And obviously there are various parameters traditionally that we have used. Like I said, that each one of us have bought insurances in our lifetimes, so we know exactly what those traditional parameters are, right? Today, if I were to go and buy a health insurance for myself, they would look at my age, my state of health, my lifestyle to an extent, and then, come up with a quote. And which the insurance company thinks is the right price to charge me, given the probability of, how soon or how late would I come back for a health claim. So essentially, it's about covering risks. So we've transferred, as users, as customers, we've transferred risk to the insurance company. The insurance company continues to carry that risk and constantly, continues to evaluate what is the probability of an event occurring. And obviously, it becomes very, very complex if you look at, all the various things that a typical insurance company would insure. So we're just talking about people in this room, but multiply it by a gazillion times, because there are different scenarios that happen when you insure different types of assets which a typical insurance company would. Right. Just to illustrate an example, and that's what we are talking about, the paradigm shift. Just to illustrate an example, that how do you evaluate? So if I were to evaluate the risk for a 22-year-old woman driver, not in India, because obviously there are very, very different parameters when you drive in India. But just take for an example. In a typical case, an actuary would, and when I talk about the actuaries would look at all the data around that particular person. Like I said, the typical traditional data parameters. Then they'll probably marry it with some of the other historical parameters on the demographics, right? Because if the 22-year-old person was in India versus driving in the US, it'll be very different. And then there are standard modeling techniques they would employ, and then come up with a risk price, or they would be able to price that risk, that what should that be the adequate price. Think of the future state or the paradigm shift that we are talking of. Today, data from all kinds of different sources, if you will, is available to augment, if we were to augment that particular analysis with the additional data sets that are today available in terms of the sensor technologies, in terms of some of the other time series information, how powerful or how close, how more accurate that number would be, and how much more risk coverage the companies would be able to provide. Just to give an example, right? Just roll back to the previous example that I said, that if I were to go for a health coverage policy, and then they just look at my height, weight, and do I have diabetes, not, yes, no, and then what is my lifestyle, and there are certain questionnaires that typically they ask us to fill. Now, what if they look at my fitness tracker data that I have been wearing for the last couple of years? If they were to add that, then they know exactly what my lifestyle is, and it's not limited to what I'm declaring on a piece of paper. So it's just getting more and more real. It's harnessing the power of data from the data sources that until now probably were not available, but now the floodgates are open, right? They say the data is the new corporate asset, where there is data sets available in all, in so many different ways. It's about harnessing them. It's about how you leverage them. And in insurance, it's a disruptor. It's absolutely a disruptor, because it's letting people think in many, many different ways, which earlier was not possible. And that's the key, that's the fundamental paradigm shift that is happening in the insurance industry. And AIG right now is at the forefront of that philosophy. That leads me to why science, right? You would say that, so some of the cases that we've seen, also, I'll illustrate some other examples of, why this is important, right? So this would be, for a company you think this may be trivial, you know, how much extra money can they get out of me from my health insurance? But when you look at the size and scale of insurance and, you know, what are the companies insuring, it becomes phenomenal and it becomes an eye-opener and it becomes a game changer if you are harnessing those data assets, if you are harnessing the power of data. I'm sure we heard, I'm sure some of you are across, you know, the news item that came across this, you know, Hollywood actress Angelina Jolie going for a proactive cancer removal because she found out that, you know, she carries the DNA. So she is not cancer stricken, but, you know, she is at a much higher risk of, you know, getting cancer in the later stages. So she went for a proactive you know, treatment, and the way she was able to detect it was through DNA, you know, sequencing and the genome sequencing that she carries. You know, her family, you know, has been a carrier of, you know, some of the type of gene that actually triggers cancer. So there are disruptions happening in every field around us, and that percolates to the insurance industry as well. Now, so what Angelina Jolie did was exactly what we are all trying to do here, to say that, can I prevent risk before it happens? It's one thing to get stricken by cancer and say, I'll go for treatment. For instance, if you're in the turbine industry or if you're in the oil industry, it's one thing to say, if the pipeline bursts, I will go fix it, or I will go and you know, file for an insurance claim. But it's completely a paradigm shift. It's completely you know, completely disruptive thinking to say, I would not allow that to happen. Can I put sensors which tells me, and I can do something about it, right? It's all about actionable insight. Just to let me know that I'm driving fast on this, on this highway, if at all I could, is not good enough, right? So, for example, the cars that we all drive, there's something called the dashboard. All of us know that. And, you know, in the analytics world that we are all in, we are all very familiar with the word dashboard. What makes a good dashboard versus a report? I call it actionable insights. If the dashboard tells you, and that's why the dashboard on the car tells you that, you know, go fill your fuel, you are nearing empty, it tells you to take an action. So it's exactly that, you know, the world is moving towards, with the data and with the technology and with the computer science advancement, the world is moving to a place where you would rather prevent things than let it happen. So from an insurance industry perspective, you know, most of the insurance is simple, right? Your premium becomes your income and your claims are your, you know, the people claim are your expenses. You would rather be, you know, you can't overcharge your customers as premium because, you know, you want to be competitive. So the only way you can be a profitable insurance company is by minimizing your number of claims. And that would happen in multiple ways, right? For that you need to think outside the box, and that's what science enables you to do. To say, how can I minimize my claims by, can I flag an event happening proactively? Rather than, you know, settling a claim once the event has happened. Because, yeah, we are contract bound to, you know, if an insurance company is you know, undertaken your insurance, they are contract bound to provide you the claims. But can we prevent the entire event by using certain technologies? Sensors allows you to do that, right? So, you know, what I'm wearing in my hand is a sensor. There are sensors in cars. There are sensors, I'm sure, here. There are buildings that are all sensor enabled now to say that, you know, if there is, if there are too many people in the building, the sensors would flag you and saying that, you know, there is a potential of a stampede here and things like that. So the technology is available, and right now as we speak, there are tons and tons. I mean, you know, it's actually, I think it's gone beyond a certain trillion in number, the amount of sensors that are available. So, you know, the data you can collect. 9/11 happened, unfortunately. We all saw the 15th year memorial service recently last weekend and so on. But the data was available to the United States and to Pentagon and to the government back then as well, because the satellites were there and they were churning data. It was not actioned on time, or it was not, you know, looked into, and that's why. So the idea is that, can we prevent something from happening? I think we want to get into that space, and that's the paradigm shift. Not to settle claims, but can we prevent the claims happening altogether? And then the whole piece of, you know, natural language processing and text mining and so on. So not to say that these are the only 3 areas. There are multiple others, but you get the drift that the idea is that there is so much of data, there is so much of technology and computer science, the 3 coming together to give a completely new different meaning. It's not just about creating statistical models from historic data. It's about what can I mine? What else can I harness from